You are live.
Okay, I'm Dana Bowman, and Mrs. Dink asked me here today so that I could present to you a little bit about blogging and why to blog, and how to blog. And generally the premise that I start with is to blog or not to blog. That was the question that I asked on my handout, because I fought it for a long time, whether or not to actually start a blog. And my first blog that I really wanted to start was Everyone and Their Dog Has a Blog, which is kind of true. There's so many blogs out there, it's almost overwhelming. But let me back up a little bit. I'm a teacher. I teach English. I work as an adjunct at Bethany, and I used to teach you guys. And I've taught some of you in Sunday school. Probably, no. You have two older brothers. Anyhow, I so enjoy teaching. But once I had kids and stayed home, I found myself extremely bored, and I wanted to fill my time with something productive. And I wanted to always be a writer. Ever since I was little, I've always wanted to be a writer, and I dabbled with it, and I would write really bad poems and send them out to literary magazines, and every once in a while they would publish it. I was so excited. I always wrote poetry. But when I actually started staying home with my kids, I started to actually try and freelance. And freelance writing is when you send out articles to magazines and you say, would you like to carry this? Would you like to take my article, please? And they actually pay you. The first article I sold was for $250, and I was thrilled, because to me, writing is actually quite fun and interesting and easy, and it kind of just flows out of me. And I thought, if I can get paid $250 for 3 pages of text, that's awesome. And I still have a picture of the check. I took a picture of the check and everything, so I'm so excited. However, there's a problem with the age that we live in now, and that is, if you're not adept and on social media and you want to partake in this freelance writing gig, it was kind of hindering my work. And that's going to carry over to a lot of jobs now, not just freelancing. Social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram even, all of that has really kind of taken part and taken a niche in the business world, and rightfully so. I think they've got some smarts. In fact, I remember seeing way back when Twitter first started to come around. I know, I was back here before Twitter even existed. Twitter actually took on an advertising gig with a big advertising company. And I don't remember which one it was, but they started tweeting funny stuff about their product. And it took their sales and just skyrocketed it. And Twitter hadn't done that before. At first, Twitter was just for people who wanted to tweet each other. It didn't really take on, like, all of the big merchandisers. And now Twitter's everywhere with every, if you don't have, I think Scott's Grocery has Twitter. So
yes, I do.
There you go.
I helped them set it up.
Oh my gosh. So the best part about this whole thing, because this is very meta, see, I used a term, is that when I first wanted to start my blog, guess who I came to see? Miss Lori Dink, because I had no clue, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't know how to start it. I just had a vision in my head about what I wanted it to look like, and I knew I wanted to write about a certain thing, and then she came and she helped set me up. Okay? All right, so that being said, I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why you want to blog, okay? And then I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why you shouldn't. Okay, so the 3 reasons why you want to blog are simply that you feel you have something specific that you want to say that you need to share, okay? That's one reason. Or you feel you have an angle that is different than what other people around you have to say, and you want to take part in this angle. And it might be a business venture of some type. Okay. Or number 3, which is kind of the trickiest one, is you want to help in some way. Help the world, help the environment, help business, help kids somehow, or you want to do some sort of humanitarian effort, and this is going to help you do that. Okay. Now, mainly, well, there's not really 3 reasons why not to blog, and this is my big one. If you're going to blog, don't do it just because you feel like, I just want to write a diary. Okay, be careful about that, because a diary is really valid, and a blog diary is also valid too. But after a while, you're going to find yourself just basically getting tired of it, because it's just going out there to a few, the multitudes. No one's responding, and it's just, your daily diary. If you want to keep a diary, write a diary. But a blog shouldn't really be necessarily just a diary. It needs to have an angle, or what we call a niche, okay? And so the way that I set my blog up, I actually did it wrong at the beginning. I'm gonna have to use your board.
Yeah, do.
Can I just use right here?
That'd be fine.
I decided that I was going to figure out my niche. And I decided that I was going to write down all the things that I wanted to write about. Okay? So I started out with, well, I like humor, and of course parenting, and then I was doing cooking, and I was doing my pets and talking about them. And then I did TBT, of course, because you can't not do that. You have to have that on Thursdays as well. And then I would talk about recovery, which that's something that I write about a lot. And I think that's about it. Okay, way too much. Took on way too much, okay? I had a day for everything. I think Tuesday was my cooking day. I think I talked about parenting twice a week. I did the TBT on Thursdays, obviously. And then I would do Friday Funny, which was just always finding something else to post. And I really was just covering way too much. And I thought my niche was awesome because it was real spread out. And I could cover all my bases. But the thing with blogging is they really don't want you to do that. If you want to shoot for writing an effective blog, you might want to try and focus on, I got rid of that. I do this every once in a while, but this is mainly when I tweet now. And I do this, I do this occasionally. But this is my main gig right here, humor and parenting. And yes, there are a lot of humor and parenting blogs out there. But as long as your writing is good and you have something, you know, that obviously fills the humor and parenting angle, then keep trying it, okay? So how do you blog in a way that actually will get readers is the other interesting part. And I found it to be very difficult initially to feel like I had anybody that was interested. And here's the hardest part. You have to really kind of be a good writer to do a blog well. And if you're saying, I'm not a good writer, I can't do that, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't do a blog, because your blog doesn't necessarily have to be solid writing. It can be other things. There's other niches. Perhaps you're into photography, or you like fashion. Or there's other, there's cooking was another one. You don't necessarily have to have a lot of narrative if you want to do a cooking blog. But for my niche, humor and parenting is pretty much set up so that you write. And so you have to have that angle initially. So don't take on a blogging topic that's not really going to fit your natural abilities. If you're not a very good photographer, then go ahead and try and perfect it and learn. And definitely, I use photographs in my blog all the time, but they're not good. Okay, and I should probably improve them, because by now I should have better photographs than I do on there. And I even say it. I was like, sorry about the fuzzy picture. But if I'm going to do a fashion blog, then I better know how to take some pictures. Or cooking. I mean, if you can't take a good picture of food, then don't try it, okay? In fact, didn't Martha Stewart, she got in trouble for that initially, because she would always Instagram pictures of her meals. Martha Stewart, right? Queen of the cooking, she takes the worst pictures, and they all look like slop. And she would get totally lambasted for it, and it was kind of funny. So I'm going to just show you, this is just me going down nostalgia lane here.
I'll just scroll down.
Well, I'm just going to Momsy first.
Oh, go Momsy first, okay.
And this is how I started. And then if you'll notice, this has grown. Because now I'm doing speaking, and then I got a book deal. And here's all the stuff that I've been published in. It's all because of Mrs. Dink! I should include you in my royalties. But the way that I actually started it is I wanted my blog to have kind of a link from day to day. I wanted it to have some sort of a narrative structure that would run throughout. In other words, I didn't want to just journal about my days in there. And so I decided to do ABCs. And since it's a kid's blog about parenting and children, I thought, I'll do the ABCs of life. And I have to find, oh no, how do I find A? One moment, please.
Josh, do me a favor and turn off the single light there so so we can see the.
Okay, so this is how I started. Yeah, I'm actually
Thank
just
you.
gonna.
Yeah, we can see it. There we go.
read this to you. One of the first things I decided to do, and this is some technical stuff, is that I did decide to pay for my website. I wanted to have a domain that was under my name and no one could mess with it. So I did go to WordPress and I went that route. It's still not a bad deal. It's $20 a year. And I really liked their ins and outs. Once she helped me set it up, because it's a little tricky, but you guys would probably have no problem whatsoever. I did. Learning how to put, pictures in and all that jazz was actually quite easy. And I did go in and have a professional photographer take some pictures of me because I thought that would help to make sure it looked kind of slick. So I just started with my alphabet, okay? And I started linking my blog pages to my blog pages. And if you'll notice, here's one of my first mistakes. What did I do though? What did I not do though that I should have? It's a picture. It's not mine. What should I have done?
You guys remember, what do we do with pictures that aren't ours?
I didn't. So if they wanted to, they could find me and arrest me. Okay. So far they haven't. Okay, so I'm just going to read this to you because I want you to kind of see where my voice is. This is not me trying to pat myself on the back for how awesome my blog is, but it's just to show you that when you're writing or when you're creating something, you need to find your voice. Okay? What is your voice going to be? And mine will have a very specific voice. It's sarcastic, it's funny, and it's going to have an angle of sentimentality and sweetness to it. So here we go. Okay, folks, here's how this all went down. I'm lying in bed. It's morning time. It feels sort of like I'm doomed. And I keep hearing a weird quacking sound coming from down the hall, but let's back up. I love to sleep. I mean, I really love to sleep. Sleep is my Ryan Gosling. It's my warm chocolate chip cookies. It's a warm Ryan Gosling serving me chocolate chip cookies. If you get my drift, sleep is really important to me, and so our story begins. As an English teacher, I knew for certain every good story needs a worthy antagonist, and I had to appear late often. And I love how Charlie, that flip-flop has been really interesting. He's like this with the flip-flop. I don't even know why. My babies. I know, right? They're simply adorable. The wee blonde one who seems to be transfixed by footwear is but 4. That's when this all started. And Charlie's 7 now, so holy cow. Red is 3. And I refer to my kids as blonde and red. I wanted to kind of keep it somewhat anonymous, although at this point it's probably not. But it just felt better to do that. They're just cuddly little nuggets of goodness, I tell you, except, of course, when they are not. Case in point, the adorableness has an expiration date. Well, rather, it expires at a certain time, and that would be any time after Mumsy goes to bed. Need I go over the rather weak Ryan Gosling analogy? The problem here is that the blonde one seems to have a problem these days with bad dreams. Last night it was at 3 in the morning. Still happens, by the way. A stubby finger poked somewhere into my blessed sleep, and a sweet voice quivered, "Mama, I had a bad dream." Momsy tried to lift her head and say something understanding and all good parenting like, "Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. Can we talk about it?" And again, you'll notice some things. I'm using dialogue, okay, because I want to get the reader right in it with me. I'm trying to make it sound like it's really me, okay, and humor. Oh, so not a good idea. This, it seems, is like telling a physicist to explain string theory. What followed was a 45-minute lecture on the subtle details and intricate plot twists involving kangaroos and lava. For real. I had a nightmare about a kangaroo in lava. I still remember it. I am not making this up. There are numerous plot twists in the kangaroo saga. At one point I had drifted off, and so had I thought be blonde, but no, it was just rubbing up from part 2 of the story in which the kangaroos had stormed the house, and there was a lot of jumpy. And I'm just going to stop here because it's not very interesting unless you're 4 or any have issues. There was a lot of gesticulating for emphasis, which upset the cat, and he responded by, oops, there's a typo. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But clutching me, that doesn't make sense, with her claws, and I just had to lay there and stare at the ceiling and pray that I didn't respond like this. I don't give a flying fig for marsupials, and we live in Kansas. Lava really think it fruit. I would also like to state for the record that the large blonde husband was sleeping peacefully during this whole escapade because that's his thing. Anyhow, and some of these phrases, like that's his thing or I digress, anyhow, I kept using them throughout the blog. It was kind of like I don't know, it's like Letterman in his top 10. I always had these little sayings that I kind of repeat. By the time the blonde drifted off into deep kangaroo sleep, I was now on my own purgatory. Quite hurriedly, my brain had switched on. And since it was still in that wretched hole of the night called 4 a.m., my brain was kind of sputtering. It was like an old television set that I had to smack it before it gave us anything besides PBS's sit and be fit. Specifically, my 4 a.m. purgatory is entitled, I'm really tired, but for some reason I'm now worrying about where I left our, and then fill in the blank with some small but annoying object. I invite myself into this boxy hell about once a month, about the same time as I decide our house is a total mess and we must fix everything. Sometimes I also like to mix it up and I add, I really need to lose blank pounds. Pair that with, I must learn how to mill my own wheat and have an insomnia cocktail, no sleep. And here I am, there is a strange slacking and a general sense of malaise, and here's the rub. It's my day to post my first amazing entry for my blog. And Miss Dink had talked to me about when to post. Has she told you all that? Like what time of the day?
We haven't talked about that really.
Okay, I had been revving up for this a whole month. I was braveheart, ready to rally my troops because mummies, insert heroic music and thick Scottish accents. They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. Unite! Let's get a cute kilt and some dreads and storm the castle. This will be the best blog ever! My point is, there's too many moms blogs already. Oh, and insert sarcasm and drooping spirits here. Surely the great interwebs needs another mommy blog, right? If somehow I could also insert the sound that a balloon makes when it is pathetically sputtering out of air right now, I would. Great Scott, I had to be funny today. All I'm going to do is pull the sheets over my head and surrender. I'm fresh out of funny. And then, now there's suspense here, right? Because you don't know what the thwacking is. The thwacking source material. It still makes me laugh. This really happened. The red enters the room. Redhead, pulling his Lightning McQueen suitcase behind him, he stops, expertly snaps the handle down, casually states, I'm ready to fly the plane. He is, of course, completely naked. We are leaving for a family vacation soon, and I'm thinking the kid likes to plan ahead for the TSA. He has a summer tan that is nut brown, but as he wheels the suitcase out of my room, his tiny little white bottom is a glowing beacon of all things good and adorable. Oh, heck yeah, I can be funny. This post was good, and I worked on it really hard, and it got an audience, okay? So somehow, and then I don't know, well, I only had 3 bloggers like it, but still, it did well. Miss Dink showed me how to do my tags and make sure I had all my little words in there to tag people so that I can get people to be interested and actually start reading it. And then my audience grew, okay? Now, the only reason I shared that with you, besides the fact that it's funny, is to help you understand that your blog needs to have a point. It needs to have like a beginning, a middle, and end every time you write. It's like a little mini story, okay? So if you're just going to go for the, I just want to tell you about my day, don't bother. Okay, all right. Now, I'm running out of time. This is always happens.
You're fine.
What time is it? 12:04. Okay, perfect. Let's talk a little bit about, is this where I'm going back to
Yep.
some of the things that I sent Mrs. Dink to help you, and I know you have all this. So I'm not going to do what I have always told my students never to do is, click on it and then read the whole thing to you while it's on the screen. You guys don't do PowerPoint still, do you?
Yeah, we do. From time to time.
Do they do PowerPoints and then read it to you?
No, I don't.
Okay, good. Thank you. Because that's one of my biggest pet peeves as a teacher is they make a PowerPoint and just read basically everything that's on the screen to you like you guys can read. Okay. But I'm going to show you a couple things, okay? One of the, well, actually, I picked out for you 2, maybe 3, I can't remember, websites that are really good about blogging advice. And I thought instead of me giving you a bunch of advice, I'll just have them do it instead. And I loved this whole website by this gentleman here, this Brian Clems, and he writes for Writer's Digest, which, by the way, is not just about blogging. And this website is wonderful. If you're having like troubles in English and you don't know how to do maybe, let's say you have to do a literary analysis of something, Writer's Digest will show you how. The good news is they're not going to put one on there that you can steal, but they'll give you stuff that really actually helps you. And I've used Writer's Digest for years, but they also go into blogging. And this little article about the 12 do's and don'ts is wonderful. One of the big don'ts that he states is please, please, please proofread your writing, okay? I don't care how young you are. I still read blogs by young kids, and I was actually trying to find you one of a teenager that's blogging really well. And anytime they misspelled a word or did something goofy with their grammar, I moved on. It's just not acceptable, okay? Unless you're trying to be funny or you're trying to do it on purpose, you've got to proofread it. And the nice thing is that your Blogger and WordPress gives you lots of options in terms of spell check and things like that. But you'll notice I even missed it. So just be careful. You want it to be professional. You always want it to look good. The other thing that I would tell you, and I don't know if he has this in his article, is you want to make sure that your content is pretty PG. You don't want to use a lot of bad language, even if that's how you normally are, because it just will turn off readers. You want to have it, and I had to even go into WordPress and I had to give it a rating. And I have to follow that rating, and if it goes outside of the realm of my rating, like if I post a picture or something that's not appropriate, they'll notify me. It's kind of scary. But that's good because I don't want to put stuff on there that's not appropriate. Okay. This was just about, I didn't know you already had this. So this is stuff that you probably don't need, but this is like, do you use WordPress? Do you use Blogger? Do you use, I can't think of any of the others because I
Tumblr.
Yeah. Which one's the best for what? There's some that are better for pictures. There's some that are better for videos. And there's some that are better for just straight narrative. And that's why I chose WordPress. Okay. Now, and that's that right there too. Blog Tyrant, I wanted to show you quickly, is another how-to blog. Okay? And he basically has everything on there. I loved all of this. I went through it, and before I started a blog, I went out and read a lot of blogs, okay? And I kept track of what I liked. I bookmarked all the blogs that I kind of liked. And I tried to look for things why I liked them. I really like blogs that use humor. I really like blogs that use lots of clean graphics and aren't all that covered with stuff. Like they have too much going on in them. That makes my eyes hurt, and I don't like that. So I don't know. This one was really good, and he has a lot of really good advice about how to grow your blog. And that's something that's tricky. It takes time and patience. It means I've been at this 3 years, and it's finally kind of doing okay. Okay. All right. So that's that one. Do I just go back?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would recommend Blog Tyrant and this Writer's Digest stuff. But then the other thing that I was trying to, just to give you some ins and outs, the other thing I was trying to do is find a niche for you and show you that there are actually teenagers out there that blog, and they blog well. And here's the part that really took me off. It's all fashion blogs. Like teenagers supposedly just like clothing. I was like, that's not true. I know it's not true. I know there's other blogs out there by young kids, not that you're young kids, but by teens that don't just have to do with fashion. And if you like fashion, good for you. But there are a lot. And one of the famous ones is this girl named Tavi, and she's like, I think she's pretty much like, makes a ton of money now off of her blog, which I found very interesting because she's 14 or something like that. But I found two that I really liked. First of all, HuffPost has a whole place where you can go and register your blog as a teen blogger, and you can have all sorts of interaction with these other bloggers. They'll give you advice, they'll give you feedback, they'll just read your blog, which is always good. One of the first things you want to do as a blogger is find a place like, I have I don't know what it's called really, I guess it's a website called mommyblogs.com, and there's also BlogHer, BLOGHER, and whenever I post on there too, and it just generates a lot more activity for my blog. So this would be a good place for you guys to go, because mommyblogs.com isn't going to work for you, but you got to find a place to put your stuff so that people can read it. And I really like this one because not only is it blogs, but then there's also like advice blogs. And this one is by this girl, and I went and read her blog. It was okay. She does have a niche. Like if you look at her stuff, this is what she's going to be writing about. Okay, she's not all over the board. She's pretty varied. That's okay. And then there's a Facebook group for all of this. I really think you should utilize this because it'd be a great way to get some traffic, and you would be so excited to see one day you turn it up and it's got 300 views. Like that's exciting. Okay. All right. And she has a video of a squirrel. How can you go wrong? And then the last one that I found that I really loved is this Broke Millennial blog. And this has nothing to do with any of my Momsy blog stuff. I just found it because she's really young and she has a niche. And her niche is money and you guys and your ages. So first of all, I think you should read this because it's really good information. She just seems to really know her stuff, and she's trying to help people your age. And she's your age. I don't quite know exactly. I think she's a little older now. She's like 22. But she's trying to help you with money stuff, okay? And this blog is a little saucy, but I thought you would like it because it's about getting naked. Okay. That's a
Just say the word naked,
okay?
and they like that.
Naked. That's a niche. Like, if you want to write about sports, maybe take it down to like, I'm a freshman and I want to make a team and this is going to be about that. Don't just write about, I'm going to write about freshman or about football, high school football. There's a ton of those. Find an angle, okay? Find a point. And then also try and ask yourself, what do you want to teach someone else or share or help someone with? Because this needs to have a point. And one of my favorite angles for blogging is helping others, okay? That's why I do the recovery angle. Oh, look, they're falling asleep. Don't fall asleep!
You're allowed to beat them if they do.
You can't fall asleep during my presentation. This is on film, for God's sake. No, I understand. So you want to try and help others. That's why I do the recovery angle with mine, because when I finally came out with that part of my life, and the fact that I'm in recovery, so is my dad. That's what hooked me up with all of the writing gigs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So on my blog, I finally came out of the closet and told people I was in recovery, and then whammo, within like, I don't know, a week, I got a tweet, which is weird. I got a job offer through a tweet. Now, that's how it happens for me now.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my writing gigs come through tweeting through these corporations. I've tweeted The Fix, which is a really big online writing website for recovery, huge, and I ended up sending them a query through an email and going the traditional route, which back in the day used to be send it through the mail, now it's email, and then I was like, oh, no one's responded. Who do I know that can hook me up with somebody to fix? So I contacted a friend of mine who had a friend who had a friend. She's like, okay, tweet this guy. And I just tweeted him one day, and he's like, sure. $250 later, I was posted on The Fix. So I got my job through a tweet, okay? And then I also got my book deal through all the articles that I started writing about this topic. And it was really quite amazing how fast it happened. So you can't take blogging and go, everyone and their dog has a blog and just leave it at that. If you really have something quite valid and important to say, you never know. You could be like the next writer of Twilight. I'm just kidding. Don't write any more of those vampire books. They're horrible and I hate them. Okay, so let me really quickly. There's no clock in here, Miss Dink.
I know.
How can you not have a clock that's terrible?
I have an alarm that goes off on my computer.
Okay, let me show you my stats and just quickly show you kind of
That would be good.
the ins and outs of Momsy. Okay. Well, here, I'll just go to that. Okay, so one of the things that I did too, which this one never works, and I don't know why, but I made sure I got some like, well, they're called buttons, but like I got myself affiliated with On the Fence, or Picket Fence blogs, I don't even remember. I started doing reviews for a publishing company. I'm in Blogging Moms, I'm a blogger, and that helps. So you want to find groups of things to try and join, and then get some buttons on your website. It helps create traffic, okay? And then I have all my pages up at top. It's really important to have this page, okay? And one of the main things that you just need to do in it is make sure and provide visuals. And that's about it for me on that one. I do have a contact page, and then I put all my other social media ways and my speaking, and then there's the book that I got done. And then I have all my publications that I've written. And this doesn't include all of them, but it's because I couldn't include all of them. There was too many. But
Miss Dana, could you talk to him about how you got your book offer?
Oh, yeah, well, that was crazy. I got an article posted in Huffington Post, and the Huffington Post is a big deal. But so once that happened, though, then I got an email that day that said we want to interview you on HuffPost Live, which is a really big deal. And I was interviewed after some big mega star, and I don't remember her name, but it was kind of cool. Obviously, I was interviewed at my house. They called me, and we did it like via Skype thing. It was really cool. Which it's kind of funny because you ever see the video, my cat's paw keeps coming down, touching my shoulder. So there's this white paw. I was like, oh my gosh. And this is right after some big star. They have a real studio in New York, I think. But anyhow, so the guy that interviewed me was really great. Did a good job, interviewed me about the HuffPost article that I wrote about recovery and being a mom in recovery. And then probably about 4 days later, I just got a phone call from a publishing company that said, we would like you to write us a book. That is not normal. And so it was really exciting because I thought they were fake. I thought they were joking initially. I was like, are you kidding? Am I being punked? But the publishing world doesn't really punk people. Like, that's not their thing. So they were for real. And it all really kind of stemmed out of all of this stuff. So it was really exciting. Okay, now I have to figure out how to get to my stats. Let's see if I can just get to admin here. But I might not be able to. Because I might have to sign in, and if I have to do
You're gonna
that.
probably have to sign in. I'm gonna bet.
Shoot.
You probably only have your password stored on your computer.
Yeah.
We can open your computer and then hook up yours.
Sleep. Okay, so how do I just unplug?
Yep. You just set your computer
Am
on
I
top of
running out
mine.
of time because it's 12:15?
We're okay. All right.
We did it 24, don't we?
Let me look.
It's like 30.
Have I answered your questions?
No, they don't go back until 12:30.
Do you have questions?
They're pretty quiet, but that's also because it's Monday and
They
they're.
make you sit up and do like, or stand up and do jumping jacks. I used to make my students do that. Wait. When they were all sleepy with me. It's depressing as a teacher to look at you all going. I should have brought my fire batons. Just kidding. Just kidding. Oh wait, Lauren.
You don't need to, I was gonna say just, oh yeah, you do. You've got, you're trying to use my plugin, so that's why it's not working. Your plugin is right, it's the white box on there, you go.
I knew that.
And the other, and you plug that in on the other side.
This is why I came to Lauren in the first place.
There you go. And then you open your screen, there you go. And then if you need to plug in, your plugin is the cord I think is laying down there.
Okay, I'm just gonna show.
You should be fine, I think.
Okay. Those are
Nice
my
picture.
babies. Aren't they cute? Yes, they're cute, Mrs. Bowman. Yeah, children. I'm just gonna start.
That's one thing they don't relate to.
No. Okay, so this is my dash, and I just went straight from my dash to show you a couple things. I think the best page for us, I've written almost 300 posts. That's kind of cool. Is to go to Insights, and this is looking different for some reason.
You're in
Oh.
Firefox, is that what you normally on?
Yeah, but it keeps going back and forth between the two different, like a new version and a non-new version. Now we're back at the one that I don't quite, okay, I'll just go to stats. Okay, really funny story, best ever day ever was August 4th, 2014, and I got hit up by a blog, a famous woman who wrote Carry On Warrior. Her name's Lennon Melton. She has this huge New York Times bestseller. It's like gigantic. And she did this thing called, a series called Messy Something Summer. And I sent in a blog, and lo and behold, she picked it up. And I didn't know that she picked it up until I think I got a tweet or something from a friend of mine that's like, oh my gosh, you're on Monastery. That's the name of her blog. It's huge. We're talking, I don't know how many readers, but just tons and tons and tons. So the funniest part about it was I was in Colorado. I didn't have any bars. I had no bars. I had no way to tell what was going on at all. And so my blog just went without my knowledge. And it was okay, but if I had been home or been able to kind of traffic it a little, it would have been a lot of fun, but that's okay. It was still really cool. Well, I was going to show you Insights, but I can't find it. So this is kind of what my stats are looking like right now. And I'm sorry, this is the bad part of the presentation where I'm a little clueless on what I was going on. Like you can have your top commenters, you'll see that kind of stuff. You'll see all the followers that you have. I just find it interesting to know that I'm almost at 50,000 views. That just makes me kind of go, wow, look at that. It's kind of exciting. And it will give you like the daily or the monthly stats in terms of it even has the names of the stuff. Conference calls making twerk. That's a good one. So you can always go and see the Insights page, which I totally cannot find, was the one that would tell you like the best time to post and the best days to post. And I know your blogging platform will have that. I know it will. If I had it to show you now, I would be so happy. And for me, it's always 1 o'clock, and it's always on a Tuesday or a Thursday, and I don't know why. Fridays are good too, and it's kind of freaky with tweeting because my Twitter is linked up to my Facebook, which is also linked up to my blog. They're all connected in the circle of life. And I connect them all. And the weird thing is that my tweets do a lot better on weekend nights. And my blog does a lot better during the day on a Tuesday or a Thursday. So I have to kind of figure out what I'm going to do when. If I'm going to tweet something funny, I wait until Saturday night and I do it. And so it's all kind of on purpose. Some of the stuff that I'm trying to do, because I'm doing it for business. If you're just doing it for fun, that's okay. But you might really want to like pursue getting your numbers up there. It's exciting. It's just exciting to get the comments and find out, you know, how many people are reading this from all over. There's a map on here somewhere that shows you where your readers are, and I have readers all over the world. And it's kind of cool. I don't know why someone in Malaysia wants to read my blog, but I guess they do. And that could also have just been like a random troll. Like, you never know. Sometimes you'll get really weird, like, it'll always tell you who's following, and you'll get some really weird ones. You're like, wow, I would never want that person to follow me normally. But anyhow, it will tell you all that information. And
Weird comments?
Huh?
Strange comments? You ever?
Yes, sometimes. And then you also get the comments that are the just computer generated ones. What is that called? When they're just
Bots.
spamming you, and it's so like just dumb. I have a lot more of those now because it's, you know, bigger. At the beginning I never did, and I was so naive at the beginning that when I got messages like that, I thought it was a real person and that they just were really dumb. Because it'd be like, today the statistics on your blog are exceptional. Please shop now, Target. Like, that's how it would sound. And it was like, I don't know what they're saying. And it's always had a, like, really effusive compliments. They would use the words like exceptional, fabulous, splendiferous, you know, things like that. So of course you're like, okay, I'll take it. But then you find out later it's just a robot. So anyhow, it'll give you top posts. It'll give you all sorts of things that you need to know to kind of help generate traffic. And you don't want to ignore this stuff, but at the beginning, I think the very most simplistic angle you can take is to start out like this, figure out your niche, and make sure that first blog post is exceptionally good. I don't know if you've already written them.
They're working on it.
Okay.
They're just.
So make sure it's got some graphics, it's got some pictures, it's got some good writing, please, good writing, okay? The beginning, a middle, and an end, and it has a point of some type, okay? So we know your niche right away, okay? I guess that's it. I don't have anything else. Do you have any questions?
Because you might talk just a little bit about your tie to social media, and then we'll.
Okay, so I am connected to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Those are my three. I also do LinkedIn and Google+. I hate Google+. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's out there and I have no idea. So I use it, but I don't know what it is. So every time I post on Momsy Blog, it will immediately go into my Twitter and say, I just posted blah, blah, blah. And it has the title of my thing. And I have found that Facebook and Twitter alone have been hugely helpful. If you don't do Facebook though, or whatever, I don't want you to necessarily do Facebook and Twitter. If you don't, because you start this up because I told you to, and your parents are like, you're not supposed to do Facebook. I don't know. I have no idea. Facebook is a time sucker, but I have to use it because of my job, and it's kind of necessary for me. So just be careful with it, because I find myself going to it all the time, and you know how that is, and then you're finding yourself, ugh. I only check my blog and Facebook and all my stuff. I go through all my Google and all my Gmail account and everything 3 times a day. I do it once at 9, sometimes right around lunch, and then right around 3 o'clock. And then I do my real writing without that stuff on. Okay, so which is really, really, really hard. And I know for you guys, you're all wired to multitask up the wazoo. Do you guys write on your laptop and also have open like 6,000 other things, and then anytime you get stuck, you go to another page? Like that's sometimes how my writing goes. And I'm like, no, you know why? I used to yell at my students for this, but I do the same thing. If I'm writing, let's say you have an essay due in English, and you're writing the essay and you're like, oh, let's look at Facebook. It's very normal. The problem with that is it does not help for continuity. It doesn't really help for good writing. So I would avoid it if at all possible. But so I try to stick to my 1, 2, 3, and then I just make sure they're all linked together. So anytime I do one thing, it's going to go to all my other feeds and link up. And I couldn't actually tell you how I did that because Miss Dink did it for me. She's magical. So she set it all up. But it's really not hard. And especially through Blogger, I think the linking up part is super, super easy.
But how long does it take you to come up with a post? Like if you know you're going to post on a Tuesday and Thursday, how much
I usually
time?
write it that morning. I used to write it the night before. And I can usually churn one out in about an hour and a half. Now, I've done it in less time, and then they just haven't been well done. An hour. I mean, but if you're adding photos and doing stuff like that, then I write it, and then I go back in and I find all the funny pictures. Like the last tweet I did, I wanted McEnroe, a picture of him in it. And so I had to go find the perfect picture of, McEnroe is that tennis player that always argued and fought and whined. I had to find a picture of him arguing, and so that took time. And so I call it the zhuzhing part. The zhuzhing part is kind of fun for me, and that usually takes about 20 minutes or so. But the actual writing, sitting and writing, is about an hour. And or it can take longer, it just depends. I think I slaved over that first post. I probably spent, I don't know, the more I write, the easier it gets for me to churn it out. So as you keep posting, that's the other thing. You need to post regularly, and you need to figure out what days you're going to post. You need to have a schedule. Because if you don't get accountable for this or at all disciplined, then your blog will die. Everybody I know is like, every time they hear I have a blog, this is what I hear. You have a blog? Oh, I had a blog. It's like their old lost relative. I had a blog once. I just never posted in it. I just got bored. I'm like, okay, so how do you keep it going? Well, you keep going. Like, you write in it. That's the thing. And I made myself promise I would post 3 times a week. One of those posts is always something easy, like a TBT or a funny picture. I just posted a picture of dogs with hats on. It's so awesome. That stuff's easy. Okay, so you do that, and then go from there.
Very cool. I think anybody's got some good questions?
I was going to say, unless this is your angle or your niche, avoid politics. Avoid, what's one of the things you don't talk about? Sex, politics, and
religion.
I do talk about my faith on my blog, but I don't have a Christian mom blog. I am a Christian and I am a mom, but my niche, I decided I wanted to be wider. Now that's okay if you want your niche to be, I'm a Christian and this is me, and that's good, that's awesome. But be careful, because in this day and age, you can find yourself, first of all, you can just be attacked, vehemently attacked. And then also, I just think we are so polar now. We're so polarized, and I don't know. That's my opinion. That's totally my opinion. But I just feel like we just state all these bombastic things left or right. Syrians, yes. Syrians, no. Can we just have a dialogue? So if you are going to post about stuff that's sensitive or really controversial, be ready. I guess that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to turn you off from that and say, don't have an opinion and don't be fired up about Syrians. Because if you are, then God bless you for trying to have, I guess, passion about something. But be ready and be, when I taught debate, I always said you need to know your opposing side. And you need to understand where they're coming from. Because you're going to have an opposing side with stuff like that, with sensitive, like religion and politics. You just know, you got to know your other side, otherwise you sound like an idiot.
Very good. Anybody questions, crew? Happiness. Well, here's something to think about, and I told this to Mrs. Bowman right out the gate. I said, do not plan on a ton of readers until you've written for how long? Remember when I told you that? A year.
I mean, it took a long time.
A year. And I said,
I was happy when I got to 100.
You're just grinding away doing all this work, and you're saying, am I ever going to get readership? And the whole thing is you got to watch your stats and tweak what you're doing, and watch your stats and tweak what you're doing, and you got to keep going. Because
It is kind of
you
a
just,
marathon,
it is, it's work. It's just work. So,
But it could be really helpful one day. And I would have to say, if you have a successful blog, this is stuff that actually colleges are looking at now.
no kidding.
They want to know what you look like on social media, and they want to know like where your market is. And if you're going into business or anything that uses social media, almost everything now uses social media as part of their angle or platform. It's so helpful to use it for good. And like I said too, you can have a humanitarian effort with it in some ways.
Oh, yeah. Thank,
Community service.
yes.
You
For
can use
sure.
your blog as part of community service. So for those of you who are looking at that, at senior year, don't they have to do community service?
Yes.
It could be.
Volunteerism, community service, even on like
It's huge.
LinkedIn, when we're looking at employee relationships, they have an entire section on volunteerism and causes you are interested in.
Yeah.
For sure. So,
I hope I was
no,
somewhat interesting.
no, we liked it. Thank you very much. You're awesome.